Boy, oh boy, what a matchup though. Indiana comes into town to Eugene. College game day is going to be there. Going to be a great matchup. Not a matchup we have seen in the Big Ten yet. And I don't know when the last time these two have played each other. I just don't know.
I'm not sure.
So it is going to be cool. But to me, it's two top 5 QBs in the country going up against each other. I'm a lot higher than I was on Mendoza after watching his tape and everything. I don't know if he's gone against insane competition the first 3 weeks, but last few weeks he's gone up against tougher competition and he's made the most of it. He's able to make some really good throws with pressure in his face. I think that's one of the most impressive things, and the way that he can just accurately put a ball right on the numbers. Has firmly put himself into the Heisman conversation, in my opinion. But now you got to play Oregon's defense. He's really good up front. Their front 7, Bear Alexander, some dudes. But then their secondary, if you get a chance, watch number 31, Dylan Thieneman. Really like him. He's a dog with what he brings to the table. He's able to pick you. He just makes you look silly. But Mendoza's already got 16 TDs and only 1 interception. I wanna see how they block this pass rush, though. I think this is a real tough front 7 to face. But I think everybody's just looked at this game and said, oh, Indiana hasn't played a team like Oregon yet. They're just going to crumble under the pressure. Have you met Curt Cignetti? Have you heard the man talk? I don't think that's going to happen. I know Dan Lanning's an unbelievable motivator. All that. He's going to be fired up. He's going to be, I'm just going to say it. That dude looks like he's on coke sometimes. But, he's going to be fired up. But I don't think they're just a team that just is going to roll over. I think Indiana's going to come ready to play, and I think they have a lot of really matchups that they can win. And I'm going to talk about those. So as I said, I want to see how they block this pass rush. It's obviously going to be tough. I want to see how they can run the ball as well. Can they run it at all? Can they take a lot of pressure off Mendoza? I think that's a big thing. How much pressure can they take off of him in a tough environment like this? I love their RPO game. They know how to score. They know how to keep that offense moving. Indiana's going to score some points, no doubt about that. And then we move on to Oregon offensively, and that O-line is great and can give Moore plenty of time. I think they're great. They're big. They're strong. I do fear for the run game of Oregon in this game. I'm a little fearful for how they match up. It's not like they ran it all that well against Penn State. One of the, I think I wrote his name down on here. There was no, I did not. There was one running back who was really solid in that game. I completely forget his name. He was not Noah Whittington. He was not Jordan Lammer. He was another dude, but he was really solid.
It's really fast dude, right?
But yeah, Dante Moore's been great. I don't think it really matters how good they run the ball. You obviously have to have a run game, but if they don't, I still think I lean more towards them without a run game than Indiana without a run game. Because I think the Oregon front 7, they can put Mendoza, that offense, in a lot of third and long situations, obvious pass downs, and that's where Dylan Thieneman, other guys can make plays. That's where they can make turnovers happen and everything. But yeah, Dante Moore's been great. He's put himself in the Heisman. He's right up there with Ty Simpson, in my opinion. They're 1A and 1B on the top of the chain for me. I think they just impressed me so much. DeCorian Moore's been awesome to watch. He's a name to be mindful of. He's number 1 wide receiver. No one's really shocked. It's kind of just worked out perfect with Evan Stewart getting injured. You have a solid wide receiver in Malik Benson, but to me, Malik Benson's not a wide receiver 1 type player. I think he's good, but this has just worked out perfectly. Something to be mindful of. Cornerback D'Angelo Pons, who has been really good. He got an interception one of their games. I forget who it was against, and he blocked a punt and returned it for a touchdown against Illinois. Illinois. So,
that makes sense.
But he was out with a lower body injury versus Iowa. He's back. That's good. But I'm just worried. As I said, Oregon puts IU into too many obvious passing downs. I want to know if IU can run the ball on this front, but I like Oregon by 10 or so. Could see it even closer than this, but I think it's going to be some points scoring in this one. I just love Dan Lanning and his ability to get his guys ready. I feel like they come ready to play, so I like Oregon in a tough battle.
All right, I like that. I am very excited about this game. There are some games that I circle that I'm really excited about. And I love both of the cultures of each of these programs right now. Like, there's some teams and there's some cultures that I kind of root against. Like, I was really rooting for Penn State to lose to Oregon just because for reasons, like, I always root against NC State. There's some programs that I just don't like. But both of these programs, what Curt Cignetti has been able to do at Indiana, what Dan Lanning's been able to do at Oregon, I love both of them. I honestly wish they could both win this game because it's going to be epic. It's going to be really, really epic. A lot of critiques people have had about Indiana is that, sure, they can win in a Big Ten schedule. They can beat your Marylands of the world and your Minnesotas of the world, not to throw shade on my Gophers. But when they play against Ohio State, when they play against Notre Dame, when they got to play against the Oregon Ducks, ooh, that's when they get exposed. That's when this team crumbles. They can't handle that elite pressure. Am I sounding like an SEC homer right now? That's kind of what I'm going for. If I do sound like an SEC homer, that's what a lot of the college football world says. They're saying Indiana, they can smoke the Illinois, but they can't compete with the Oregons. And you know what? To this point, they're kind of right. I mean, when they played against Ohio State and played against Notre Dame, they were not really very close to winning those games. But everyone knows that. Not everyone knows why that is. To me, the reason why, against Notre Dame and against Ohio State last year, this team could not run the ball at all. They were held under 100 yards rushing both of those games, and most of those rushing yards did not come from running backs. It came from Curtis Rook's scrambles, which don't really even exist, but they existed in those games, and sort of creative run-esque type of plays to wide receivers. So they could not run the ball against the top-tier talent last year. Insert this year's Indiana team, and if I'm being completely honest, running the ball has not really been their complete strong suit. So let's look at an Illinois game and an Iowa game, a game where their offense exploded and a game where their offense struggled. Illinois did not get any pressure on Fernando Mendoza. He was taking a nap in the pocket pretty much every time he dropped back to throw, and that allowed him to find Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper, who were two really good receivers. Against Iowa, basically what the Hawkeyes decided to do is blitz Fernando Mendoza as much as they possibly could have. I think they blitzed like over 60% of the snaps on Fernando Mendoza. So what that did was make him really uncomfortable. And Indiana's offense didn't really succeed because when you can't consistently rely on a run game and you're having pressure in your face and you're uncomfortable, there's not a lot you can do. You're forced to third down and then it's rough. So let's look at what Oregon can do defensively. The first thing that you got to acknowledge about Oregon is their defensive line. It is scary. Mateo Uiagalelei and Bear Alexander were making plays all night against Penn State. Oregon can get pressure blitzing forward. That's just something that they can do. So I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be uncomfortable. And with their amazing defensive line, I don't think that Indiana is going to be able to run the ball as well as they would like. I mean, Uiagalelei and Bear Alexander they're so strong and they're so athletic. They're like perfect run stoppers. So I don't think Indiana is going to be able to run the ball, just like they couldn't against Ohio State and Notre Dame last year. And then Fernando Mendoza is going to be uncomfortable in the pocket. Oregon plays a lot of zone coverage. You're not going to be able to get Surratt and Omar Cooper over the top. I don't really see how Indiana moves the ball in this game. I really hope that they would. I hope Curt Cignetti's listening to me right now. He's definitely not. But if he was, he's going to use this for juice because he does that kind of thing. But I just don't see Indiana being able to move the ball. On the other side of the ball, Oregon is explosive, especially in the run game. De'Ara Hill is averaging over 10 yards a carry. He's literally averaging 10.4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
He's explosive. He's super fast.
So fast.
Really hard to bring down. And then they have two other guys, Jaden Lamar and Noah Whittington,
Yeah.
who are also averaging 5.9 and 8.8 yards a carry. Their run game, their offensive line creates so many creases. This is the best offensive line in the Big Ten. Their two transfer tackles have been so good. No way Indiana gets pressure blitzing for. I just think Oregon completely outmatches Indiana. I hope I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, it's going to be really cool. But I just think Oregon's too much. I think Oregon wins like 34-13, something like that. I wish it was closer because I really like Indiana. I really like what Curt Cignetti does. Just Google him if you don't know. But I think Oregon is the much better team and they match up much better from what I've seen this year. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. We haven't really agreed in like any of these games on like the way they're going or really the like outcomes in a lot of these games. So it's gonna be interesting to watch.